Say it with me, kids. Say it with me. A win is a win, damn it. And say it with confidence. Say it with conviction. Even if deep down you know that was a Hail Mary that was answered, damn it, say it with conviction. The Browns with a big win yesterday in Indianapolis, 39-38. Welcome in. It is a Monday edition of the Chico Borman Show here on the Big Play Sports Network. Good to have you along, as always. We'll be with you until 2. You can stream us live on Twitter and YouTube. Twitter at Chico Show CLE, also on Facebook, or not on Facebook, on YouTube. You can go to Facebook. I'm sure we're there somewhere. Chico Borman Show. Hit subscribe if you are not. Holy midges. Boom. Did you see the midges outside?
They didn't creep in the studio, did they? I did see them outside.
They are plastered all over the wall. Not like the last time.
Every time I walk through a door into this airport, I just like, I'm taken aback.
That means
but it's a wave of midges.
You know what that means. We go out to your car, like you got to kind of, you get into your car as if it's like a monsoon rainstorm. That's how fast you're going.
This would be a great time to have Jabba Chamberlain on the show.
What are you trying to do? There's not rain. Yeah, I'm just trying to dodge midges right now.
And you have to worry about them flying into your car.
That's what I'm saying. That was the point. That's what I said. That's
so annoying. And like they want to fly right back out, but it's like you got to let them, and then more want to fly in and just explore the space. And it's an endless cycle of chaos.
But we don't care because the Browns won on Sunday. They are now 4-2 on the season. They get ready to head to Seattle. Okay, so we don't know who the hell's going to be playing quarterback coming up Sunday in Seattle. But damn it, the Browns, and this is important, take nothing away from this show today other than, damn it, don't apologize to anybody, even if you don't believe it yourself. Even if you don't have the confidence and the conviction to say it anyway with that fake confidence and fake it until you make it. Browns won. Hey, that's a win any way you can get it. All right. Now, that said, I feel like we do this every year. And if I'm going down this road again and it's not warranted, somebody please tell me. Okay? I feel like we're going down the road again that we've been going down week after week of this season where we say, my God, like it's just, you just shake your head. I texted Shook yesterday, my buddy Nick Shook, for the Bold Ball Breakdown tomorrow, noon, little shameless plug, from noon to 1. And I said, dude, I think we just come on the air at noon on Tuesday and just shake our heads at each other for like an hour. He's like, yeah, and smoke a pack of cigarettes. He's like, because that's what everybody else is doing. He goes, it's crazy. But, I had this reminder today from somebody from earlier this morning. I was talking about it with somebody, and, you're happy you're 4-2 and whatever, but you're starting to get into, it's easy to kind of go down that road with Deshaun and kind of, what the hell? And then my buddy just said, he's like, Chico, we have to remember these for so many years and recent years, these were games the Browns did not win. And we can talk about, it was ugly and, they got screwed by, you didn't get screwed by the refs. Now you're starting to get some of those calls, okay? And some of them were pretty damn bad. Like if I was a Colts fan, if I was a Niners fan, but hey, like I said, we ain't apologizing. How many calls did the Browns get last year alone on Tuesday? Ring, ring. I don't know how they answer. They just answer hello, the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns, how can we help you? Yeah, this is Roger Goodell calling. Just wanted to issue our weekly apology for screwing your team with another horrible officiated game. But now those calls are going the Browns' way. I thought the call on Cooper against Cooper was legit. He absolutely that's one of those where, okay, you can say that, and he did break out of it pretty well because he's so strong. But the bottom line is the dude was so out of position, like he was literally grasping at, wasn't a straw, grasping at Amari Cooper trying to slow him down. Like Amari Cooper went inside, he bit, and then he couldn't recover, so he grabbed him. So you've got to call the flag on that. I don't think there's any question on that one. The Njoku out of bounds and uncatchable. David is a very good athlete.
It was DPJ.
No, that was Njoku.
The one in the back of the end zone that put them on the one?
Was it DPJ?
It was DPJ. Yeah.
Well, he's a really good athlete.
He is a really good athlete.
He's not as athletic as Njoku.
Now, I want to ask you, though, real quick about that Amari one, because it looked like, and I've heard the case made, that Amari kind of initiated that contact with the defender.
No. I've seen that like 5 times now. You had to call that. Like, again, he planted, like he made a move left and to the inside. That dude was cooked.
It was a nasty move, by the way.
Oh, and he's
an ankle breaker.
That's another, kind of thing that you got to get corrected. I don't know how he just doesn't see the ball at all yesterday. But, that move to the inside, the defender was he was toast. So, he had nothing else to do but that. Now, he did. I don't even want to say he let go. He let go because Amari Cooper just ripped right through him because Amari Cooper is strong as hell. Like, that's what that was. I think that's why, like, initially we gave the DB a little too much credit and not enough credit to Amari. The reason why, he was able to break free so quickly and it looked like, oh, well, he may have touched him, but then he immediately... No, Amari just busted out of that pretty quickly. That's what that was. Anyway, they're 4-2. They're 4-2. One thing I will say that surprises me immensely, did surprise me right after the game. Why did Kevin Stefanski announce right away that Deshaun Watson's going to be the starting quarterback in Seattle?
Do you think that could have been a slip-up? Like just getting carried away? Not thinking it through?
No. Anybody else, maybe. Hugh, maybe. Not Stefanski.
He truly, sincerely expects it.
Well, I think what he's doing, and these are the psychological games we have to play now with the quarterback situation. I think what he's trying to do, like immediately, I don't know what your thought was, Bone, but immediately when they came back and then the report came from Aditi that Deshaun Watson has been cleared, but he's not going back in the game, my immediate thought was, oh, here we go. You know what I mean? This is going to be now it's going to be reversed where Deshaun from the Baltimore game, remember he was saying, oh, he was good to go, medically cleared, and then Deshaun said, I just don't feel like going. Now he wants to get back in there, and Kevin Stefanski's like, no, because he was lost. He was lost. So that was my immediate thought. And then it was like, well, you know what? The guy's, he's playing like crap. So what? It's okay. I mean, not that PJ Walker, and we'll get into that too here in a little bit about the quarterback situation and what the options could be, maybe, I don't know. But as it relates to Deshaun Watson, I don't know why why would he be so quick to rule him out of that game and say that I was just protecting him, yet be quick on the other end right after the game to say, yeah, he's starting Sunday. And then Deshaun, and this is the whole communication thing, and I'm not trying to beat a dead horse or anything on this, but the communication thing has been an issue. And so Deshaun then after the game is asked about it, and then Deshaun's comment is, well, I just hope I don't do, anything. I hope it's not any worse than it was before. So you wanted to go back in, or you didn't want to go back in, or the shoulder's not okay, or it is okay. It was a concussion, not a concussion. I don't know what's going on with this dude. I feel like with in regards to Deshaun Watson, I feel like we have to have a physically probable, questionable, debatable, doubtful, out. And then we also have one mentally. And it's not me making light of mental health. I'm just saying, I've been saying it for a while now. His confidence is shaken. And, now there's talk about, do you put him on injured reserve and just, be done with it for 4 games? Let him, I think the next 4, what do you got? Seattle, Arizona, I think Baltimore and Pittsburgh, and I don't know if it's in that order, are back in the fold too. So, but if, and this is where we just don't know, if it's all about, look, just get the dude right, just get him healthy, then go ahead and do that. Here's the problem with that, though. We are now, and I don't know if anybody else is, but I'm doing this, where I'm going back to the last time this guy played consistently, practiced consistently, week after week after week. Folks, we're almost going on 3.5 years. So, clearly you say, yeah, well, Deshaun Watson gives you the best chance to win. Clearly Deshaun Watson has to be your starting quarterback. And I wouldn't necessarily disagree with you. Certainly, when you look at the financials, of course he does. But that aside, does he give you the best chance to win? Even if he's physically okay, after 4 weeks he's physically okay, but then he just starts practicing again. It is clear that something ain't right. That what he's seeing, what he's not seeing, the confidence, and all it takes at the NFL level is a split second of thought or hesitation. And I don't know anymore. That's just the reality. I don't know anymore.
Chico, I think we can say with certainty that Deshaun was definitely not 100%. By all accounts, he did not have the same zip on his passes. And that was as disastrous can get. He had a quarterback rating of 0 on, 5 passes, nearly 2 INTs.
0.
Totally
0.00.
Absolute 0. It was awful. It was horrendous. And I was hoping he would be benched. To be honest, that hit felt like the perfect excuse.
Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no.
Still one of the greatest movies ever.
Oh, yeah. I actually had a guy, I got to tell you this story. I've told it before, but I was in Pennsylvania and working on the radio, and it was during a Penguins playoff run. And they stormed back to win, and so my buddy, who would come on with me and was a big hockey guy, and that's what he led with. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? And I laughed because, of course, I got it. And I had some old guy call in within 15 minutes, and he was pissed. And I'm like,
do you think he fought in that war?
No. Just he. And I knew where this was going, and I'm like, I can't. I want to be respectful, but at the same time, this is too funny an opportunity to pass up. So I could tell the guy's like, yeah, I just want to, did you guys say 10, 15 minutes ago something about the Germans bombing Pearl Harbor? We're like, yeah, we were in reference to the Penguins coming back. He's like, y'all are aware that it was the Japanese that bombed Pearl Harbor, right? To my buddy, I go, is that right? Just like, and this guy, and it just infuriated him. He's like,
lean into it.
You got to be kidding me! This is a disgrace to. And then he was like pushing me. He's like, please tell him. So then 30 seconds into it, I had to cut him off. I go, sir, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Animal House with Belushi and company. I've heard of it. I think I've seen it. I go, well, go back and watch it again if you have seen it. because there's a line about, was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? And that's the reference. I can promise you, my buddy here is an attorney, a high-profile attorney. He's a very smart man. I'm not a smart man, and I know that it was the Japanese that bombed Pearl Harbor. We both do. It was a movie reference. And the guy's just like, oh, all right. Hangs up the phone. Like, he didn't know how to respond. But yeah, so Germans, was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no. But I think to get back to Deshaun Watson, and there was plenty of good in this game, largely on the defensive side of the ball. Myles Garrett's not human. But I just, we're left with Deshaun Watson and what does the future hold? And nobody knows. I don't think Deshaun knows. I don't think Kevin Stefanski knows. And that's why it was surprising, because a guy that is as buttoned up as they get in the NFL. And Bohm, to your point about, do you think he slipped up? I don't. I think that was him. I think he knew that the questions were coming about, have you lost confidence in your quarterback? That's where this would just be my guess, my opinion. He thinks that, oh, here we go. The game ended. Word got out that he was cleared. He didn't have a concussion, and I didn't put him in because I was protecting him. So here come the questions about, have you lost confidence in your quarterback? Well, I'll tell you what. I'll put those to rest right now. Deshaun Watson is our starting quarterback in Seattle. And it was like, wait a minute. Why did you say that? You don't know that he's your quarterback. You don't know. We don't know anything about Deshaun Watson. And this isn't like, hey, I'm the coach. I know you don't. Nobody knows. Even Deshaun. Like, it was the Baltimore game all over again, because this time it was Kevin Stefanski saying, oh, no, he's going to play. Absolutely. And then Deshaun, coming back with, well, I just hope it's not worse. What's not worse? The concussion? No, the shoulder. I thought it was a concussion. All right. Clearly, you're right. He wasn't 100%. I didn't think. I could be wrong. I got to go back and watch some of these. And Nick will set me straight tomorrow as well, I'm sure. Boom, I didn't think, I didn't have a radar gun on his throws. I didn't think his velocity looked that bad. Now, was he, on certain throws, I don't know what his pain was when he really let it rip. But there were a couple ones where I thought, he looked like he spun that pretty well. But regardless of that, right now, it's like I said, we can talk all day long about rotator cuffs and concussions and not. This is right here between the ears and not concussion related. It's confidence related. It's another C word. It's confidence related, and this dude's lost right now.
And I think we saw evidence of that, too, in his post-game press conference where I believe it was Cameron Justice, who, by the way, was on the Reflux show last week. Check that out when you're not watching the Chico Borman show. But she tweeted out
both if you want.
Yeah, just multitask. Why not? Be the master multitasker. But anyways, Chico. So Cameron Justice tweeted out a quote from Deshaun where he's talking about how, basically this wasn't enough of a sample size to consider it like a rough outing because he only threw 5 passes. Just like being in denial about the whole thing and trying to downplay it. It feels like kind of a red flag to me in terms of that insecurity really becoming problematic.
I think at this juncture with Deshaun, and, for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, for, sicker, or hell, till death do us part. He's signed with the Browns through 2026. There's absolutely nothing anybody can do. All right. As it relates to it right now, as it relates to Deshaun, the situation, him being a starting quarterback, I think my biggest fears, I'll talk just for me. My biggest fear was, and still is, but it was in the beginning of the year, that is he going to be able to deal with any kind of adversity? Like, anybody can be cool and say, hey, I put that stuff behind me. It's time to play football. If you're going out and throwing for 440 yards and 4 touchdowns and the offense is humming and it's looking like a finely tuned Ferrari, yeah, hell yeah, life's good. But the reality is he's not even close to that. He's not even looking like a broken down Ford Pinto right now. And on top of that, and I keep saying this, but it's like, well, just let him get healthy. Okay, but when I let him get healthy, that's another day or 5 days or a week or 4 weeks that he doesn't practice. And look, this dude needs to practice. Practice. You talk about, yeah, he needs practice. Like one of my favorite flicks, good, A Few Good Men. When Demi Moore says to Tom Cruise, I'm just kind of wondering why, our client's attorney is out hitting a softball while he's locked up and you haven't talked to anybody. And he swings and misses. He's like, oh, we need the practice. Deshaun needs the practice. So, like, this is more than just saying, oh, just get him healthy. It's up here. Is he seeing things? And I can't. It's one of those things that you can't put your finger on. You can't say like, "Oh yeah, this is clearly the issue," because of the obvious. And it's no longer even the elephant in the room. You know what I mean? Like we can I think we're past that point now with Deshaun. It's not the elephant in the room. Yes, do I think physically he needs to get? Sure. I am not at all saying that shoulder is just a complete mess, and it's certainly not as bad as Baker Mayfield's was, but I digress. But in total different injury, I know, before anybody like scathes me for it. But I really think, I don't know when he gets that back. Not range of motion, not, ripping it without any pain. I don't know when he gets it back, meaning confidence. I don't know. I don't know if he ever gets it back.
Chico, I know we're not playing fair or foul yet, but let me just bounce this off you right now. Fair or foul, well, you feel more comfortable with the Browns trotting out with P.J. Walker at quarterback than Deshaun Watson.
Foul, but I don't feel I can't say fair to that. But so that's why
it's fair to me. I feel better about PJ at quarterback right now than Deshaun.
You know who somebody brought up today?
Is it a former Browns quarterback?
Yes.
By the name of Jacoby Brissett?
Yes, it is. Yes.
I have seen that name making the rounds, Chico.
Yes, he's making the rounds. He's currently playing for the Washington Commanders.
Well, not playing, but playing backup. Sam Howell
playing. Yeah.
Although I don't know how long Sam Howell is going to last because he's on pace to break the record for number of times being sacked.
He was terrible yesterday. He was absolutely terrible yesterday. Sam Howell was. So Jacoby now Washington, you can look this up. I think with that loss yesterday, I think they're 4-5, 3 I think they're 4-5.
I thought they had 3 wins, but I'll confirm here shortly.
Thank you, Bohm. That's what Bohm does, baby. He's a fact checker. You didn't know that about Bohm, but he's a fact checker. He's all about the facts.
Almost typed in Redskins, which is, in fact, not factual.
No, because they're the Commanders.
Correct.
So what are they? Oh, you haven't gotten it yet.
They are 3-4.
3-4. Okay. All right. 3-4. Yeah, that's right.
Which kind of seems miraculous considering their personnel right now. And like Ron Rivera feels like he should be on the hot seat.
Well, right he has not been good. I've said this before about Ron Rivera, that I feel like because he was an old, he played for the Bears, and because his name, he's not a good head coach. He's just not. I mean, he's got a great story. He had a lot of success in the league as a player and I think as an assistant, but he's not a good head coach. Certainly not for this team. But Jacoby Brissett, let's get back to that. Because you would give up, I mean, I don't think it would be anything significant, a 4th, 5th round pick. And you'd have to pay the remaining, I think the prorated portion of his contract this year would be roughly about $2 million. I mean,
you have the most cap room in the NFL this year.
Yeah, and like I said, I know some of that's, but you know what? You made a mistake in Josh Dobbs, with Josh Dobbs. And, I'm not going to say it was roundly criticized at the time, but it did raise a few questions, more than a few questions, like, okay, Dorian Thompson-Robinson has looked great. No question about that. Nobody can deny that. But preseason's different from regular season. He's a fifth-round rookie. So you bombed on Josh Dobbs making that trade. I don't think you can ask. Here's the question. Okay, let's pose this for folks out there. At Chico Show CLE, you can tweet the show on YouTube. Do we have those? What is it? Twitter Spaces, not Voices. Twitter Spaces or X Spaces or X Voices or.
Well, we are live on Twitter, which it's kind of confusing, but I think it now shows up in the same places where you would find Twitter Spaces. It's like it feels like a near equivalent.
Does that mean people can talk? Are we getting? That's what I guess that's what I was wondering, because I know a week or so ago, which we're good at, like we throw something out there. Like, hang on a second. I got a mud pie. Let me throw that at the wall. We're
out kicking our coverage.
So it's nothing yet.
Not yet.
Okay. Well, the question I want to pose, it doesn't matter. The question that I want to pose is, can the Browns continue to win games? Could they be, and we're going to get to the defense here in a moment. Oh, are we ever going to get to that defense in a moment? Can they continue to be, and they're 4-2 right now, and God bless them, but with the way the offense is going right now, the quarterback situation is going right now, as is this a team that can realistically think playoffs? I don't know. I know that the defense, and I'm going to get into this with Ohio State as well, we need to retrain our brains here in 2023 in regards to football. And this is not about, the Browns are fine on offense or the Buckeyes are fine on offense. But guess what? There's two sides of the ball, right? In today's day and age, the sexy thing, I guess it's probably always been that way, but the fireworks, it's all about offense. It's all about, slinging it around the yard. But there is still something that will carry, that will, not only carry and travel, but can dominate to a point that, it can vault you right into the playoffs. Hell, in a down year, college football, which we'll get to, where you don't really have a juggernaut, some more fell. Maybe a defense wins you that championship. 2002, my old buddy, shout out to Dustin Fox, trestle ball, punts, 14-9, 11-10, 14-0 is the only thing that mattered. National championship. Now, again, I know that's not that realistic, but we need to remember that when you have a defense as dominant as the Browns have, there's not a whole lot you have to do on offense. And I always kind of cringe at the notion of, well, hey, just don't crash the bus. Don't crash the plane. Here are the keys. You just keep it flying. To some degree, that's true. Oftentimes people say, they say it too much. But in this case, like if you tell me the Browns can score, let's throw out a number here, Boom. We're all about numbers. We're very analytics-based here at the Chico Bourbon Show. 21. If I told you next week the Browns will score 21 points, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your confidence level they beat the Seattle Seahawks?
I mean, when you take into consideration that Seahawks offense, and I don't know what DK Metcalf's status is going to be. Obviously, JSN got in the end zone yesterday. Shout out to him. But Chico, I don't have a lot of confidence that 21 will be enough against Seattle. Now,
really?
You're saying I should. I want to see more out of them. Like,
what I'm saying is, if 20 more out of who? The defense?
The offense. The defense, you can't ask for much more, and the offense is putting them in rough positions.
The offense, you can't add. That's what I'm saying. I don't think well, okay. I guess here's what I'm saying. 21 points is still a lot of points.
It's
Okay?
enough to win in the league. You're right.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you go in there and you're like, well, automatic W. But if they can kind of get, I'll use 20 as a threshold. If they can eclipse that mark, barring something, you score 21, but you turn the ball over 4 times. But when I say this, I'm saying like you play a clean game. Like Kyle McCord, he didn't play a great game. He didn't turn the ball over either. Very important. So this is moving forward for the Browns. It's all about winning football games, right? I hate to be cliche, but it truly is. They're 4-2. Now, if you want to talk about style points, forget about it. Yesterday, that you want to talk about lipstick on a pig, that was yesterday. But you know what? 39-38, they won. Who cares? They're 4-2. But moving forward, we have to be realistic. We have to be realistic. And more importantly, Andrew Berry has to be realistic. Can you expect the Browns to be a playoff team with a dominant lights-out defense and a quarterback situation that at best is below average and at worst is just piss poor? I mean, that's where we're at. Deshaun healthy or not? Like we need to see Deshaun Watson. Correct me if I'm wrong. Deshaun Watson has played in, or there have been, since he came back, 10 games, something around that. He's really only had one good game. Now, in baseball, 3 out of 10's good. In baseball, 1 out of 10 still sucks. In football, 1 out of 10, no, we're going to need a little bit more. Now, when it's a $230 million guy that you gave up 3 number ones for, and by the way, I'm going to repeat this over and over again. The easy way to describe Deshaun right now and to talk about how he's not playing well and then he's not healthy and God only knows what else is going on upstairs with him is to say, he's got $230 million. I don't even give a damn about the 230. I really don't. I don't mean to sound like, oh, well, it's not my money. But you know what? It's not my money. 3 number 1 draft picks, that really ticks me off. That's where I get fried because that's a guy like Andrew Berry. I don't care what he says. I don't care. And the book that's going to come out 40 years from now about what really went down with Deshaun Watson getting signed and who was really on board, we'll find out then. I will say this. I find it hard to believe that any general manager, but certainly one of Andrew Berry's ilk, coming from Philadelphia, Indianapolis, where like that, the draft choices and God forbid 3 1s, you don't just kind of, Now, are you kicking the tires on it? Okay, that's fine. But somebody in that room had to say at some point, and it wasn't anybody named Jimmy Haslam, but somebody, whether it was Dee Podesta, Barry, Kevin Stefanski, somebody had to be like, whoa, let's slow down for a bit here and just kind of recap. So we're going to give up 3 number 1s and sign him to a $230 million guaranteed contract. Yes, that's what we're proposing. Ooh, wow. We might have to think about this. Because there's no way everybody right away was like, oh, yeah, hell yeah, that's a no-brainer. Good idea. All right, let's go home for the night. Want to go grab some brews? No. But the reality is right now, this team, you owe it to the guys on the defensive side of the ball. You owe it to Jim Schwartz. You owe it to everybody in that locker. You owe it to the Joel Batonios of the world, to the Wyatt Tellers of the world, to Nick Chubb, even who's out. You've got to give them some chance on offense. And I'm kind of amazed. I don't know if it's because we always like the backup quarterback. Boom. I don't. PJ Walker stinks. I mean, I'm not going to. And he's a backup for a reason. Okay. And that's fine. But if you're telling me like, oh, yeah, go out and play Seattle next week with PJ Walker, I'm saying the defense better come up with another. Myles Garrett might have to leap, an 8-story apartment building, and he might do that actually. But they need quarterback play where you're making smart decisions. You can make a play every now and then. You're able to get Amari Cooper involved. And again, oh, by the way, the running game, I love at the end. How about it? I think it was Wyatt Teller that after 2 passes, and granted they were out of timeouts. Okay, I get it. But, did you honestly feel comfortable with P.J. Walker in a tight window? Where, you say, well, the red zone. Yeah, but we're talking the tightest of windows, the red zone, 1 yard line, in as much pressure as you can imagine outside of the Super Bowl, and you're throwing the ball with him. And I'm not here to just second-guess Kevin Stefanski all day, but I'll tell you what, I love Wyatt Teller just a little bit more on this Monday because apparently he went into the huddle or went to the sideline or wherever he said it and said, let's bleep and run the bleeping ball. Yes, because this guy, you're just – and if he gets stuff, yeah, that'll be second guess too. But you can't trust P.J. Walker, and that's my point right now. I can't trust P.J. Walker to be anything more than an average to below average backup. I don't mean it personal or anything like that. He's thrust into a bad situation, okay? But I don't know. A name like Jacoby Brissett, you've got when I say they're kicking the tires, they've got to be kicking the tires because Andrew Berry, if I'm saying it, that Andrew Berry's definitely been thinking it.
And Chico, I absolutely 100% would have more confidence in Jacoby Brissett at the helm than PJ Walker. And that's the thing. I felt like the play calling was evident. Some of the run plays felt so predictable outside of taking 4 downs on the one to actually run the ball. Outside of that, it felt like those run plays running on first and second downs were so predictable and the defense could see it coming, and occasionally they'd break one out. But to me, it just suggests the lack of confidence in PJ's arm. That being said, though, I mean, he missed a lot of throws. He was so inconsistent. It was very frustrating watching that Browns offense. But then he just he has these very few flashes, right? He had 2 or 3 absolutely elite throws. He dropped it in the bucket for Elijah Moore on a ball downfield on 3rd down. That was so unbelievably clutch. I don't know where the hell that came from, Chico. But okay. He has it. He can do it a little bit. He can do it.
But see, okay. I'll go back to Deshaun with 1 out of 10 games being good. 1 out of 10 ain't going to get it done in the NFL. At some point he's going to make a good throw, but
right now he's 2 for 2.
But we are talking about a defense, real life. We're talking about a defense that is every bit as advertised. Okay, they are dominant. Myles Garrett is a freak. I tweeted this out yesterday. And, of course, I got some pushback from Steeler fans, but that's okay. If you want to I have no problem with the debate about who's the best defensive player in football because I think there's some really good arguments to be made for all the guys. All I will say, whether it's Nick Bosa, T.J. Watt, Aaron Donald, whoever it is, there is not one player on the defensive side of the ball, maybe on the offensive side of the ball too, but on the defensive side of the ball that can do things that Myles Garrett can do. Folks, when he jumped over the line of scrimmage, okay, there was no run-up on that. There's a picture, boom, at Health 360, which just happens to be where I like to work up a lather. So shout out to all the, Khalil and Johnny and Big Mike's Produce and Vic and all the gang out there. But Myles Garrett, he trained him for a little bit, just would assist him with certain workouts. So I think he's been in there 2 or 3 times. There's a picture that still hangs. This is from 3 years ago. I'm gonna specifically look for it tomorrow morning. I forgot this morning how, I don't know, but there's a picture in there of him. I don't even know what he cleared, but boxes like up to here. I mean, it was like 6, and from a standing position. And here's the other thing. The part of the story that Bobby Khalil, who worked him out that day, loves the most, he's like, Chico, that was at the end of his workout. That was not at the beginning. That was at the end of his workout. Professional athlete or not, that is not human.
Freak of nature.
So you can tell me that T.J. Watt might be the best. Whatever criteria you're using. I just know I don't think T.J. Watt is able to, and it doesn't mean he's not a great player, but don't tell me that there's another guy in football on the defensive side of the ball that can pull off some of the crap that dude pulls off. Whether it's bending down to someone's ankle without going around the edge without falling down, keeping his balance, or losing speed, his get-off speed. Didn't they have that during the halftime show, that his get-off speed was like 0.5 or something?
And we heard Shook talk about it last week on the Bold Bald Breakdown, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, where Garrett has had like the fastest get-off in the NFL thus far this season.
And like world-class sprinters are like 0.2. I mean, are you kidding? He's unreal. I mean, he is on a team and on a defense filled with stars everywhere. He is a unicorn. He is unbelievable. I'll say the only thing we got to have a little conversation about when he gets offside.
He kind of caused them to score a few times.
It's
a couple times.
Yeah, it's not a dead ball foul. Got to get back. Just for no other reason than, hey, you're so disruptive that if they get that free shot, and Gardner Minshew, God, I mean, shout out to Jorts, man. He really,
Uncle Rico.
Yeah, he looked good yesterday. But yeah, that's the only knock on Miles. Miles, man, is he incredible.
And you know what? I feel like it's a sacrifice, too, because he has such a natural talent and inclination to jump the snap and time it so well.
Yeah.
He's going to have offsides penalties every game. It happens. He gets one or two every game, but this time it felt more costly than any other. Because
it's just a matter of when you get them. Yeah, I agree with that. All right, if you want to chime in, and we've said a lot here in the first hour, obviously reacting. First and foremost, it is a win. It is a win. This was a game that I kind of like the week before, kind of like San Francisco. Oh, Jake Moody's lining up for, we've seen this movie. I mean, you realize the Browns could just as easily be 2-4 as opposed to 4-2. They're 4-2, though. And I'm not, this isn't we should have punted. No, You've been through, this fan base has been through hell. They deserve to get a few calls their way. Okay, even if they were egregious. Like I said, how many Tuesdays last year, and really recent memory, but just last year alone, how many calls came from the league on Tuesday? Yeah, it's Raj speaking for Raj, and we just wanted to let you know, sorry for effing that up for you. All right, have a good week, guys. Good luck. So nobody's going to apologize.
And also, there were some calls that went against the Browns, or no calls, I should say. They picked up a flag. There was one where it felt like at the very least, illegal contact on Amari. And I heard it on the radio broadcast, too, producing it yesterday. It sounded like they got maybe a makeup call for courtesy of these refs. And this felt like, honestly, the most incompetent refereeing crew that I have ever witnessed. It was just, they picked up like multiple flags. There were some late flags thrown, and it's just this guy, his voice was cracking. He was stumbling over his words.
Was it Reflog in last week's show when he was talking about San Francisco and how the Browns fans actually had him apologizing? Was that Reflog?
Probably. That sounds about right.
One of the, he's like, shout out to Browns fans. They actually got the officials to apologize.
That's right.
Because like at one point, you could tell the guy's attitude was basically like, would you guys just calm down? We all know we're a bunch of jackasses. You don't need to tell us and boo us.
And I didn't think it could get any worse from last week when you had the most flags thrown up to this point in an NFL game this season.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah.
But hey, we got the dub.
They're 4-2. They're 4-2. But moving forward, This defense is too dominant, and this defense is so dominant that, yes, they can cover so many warts. They can lead you to the playoffs. They can lead you to playoff victories, but you can't just give them no chance by turning the ball over 2, 3, 4 times a game. You've got to have somebody that has that calm, cool, collected, and that's Jacoby Brissett.
Now, Chico, you mentioned Brissett, but we got another former commander. Well, I guess it's not another, but a former commander that's mentioned in the comments, courtesy of D. Solsky. And he's asking, and I'm going to bounce this off of you,
Joe
Chico.
Theismann.
What is the relationship between Barry and Wentz? Carson Wentz. Do you sign Carson Wentz? Do you consider it?
No. Don't even consider it. One, where is he? I mean, what has he been doing? Two, what did I just say about, and D. Skolsky, I appreciate you checking in, because he's not the first one to mention Wentz's name. What is Wentz known for?
Sucking.
No, dropping. Thank you, Bowman. He's not the best in the business for anything, kids.
He was at one point on pace to be MVP, and then after that, it was just all out the window.
And while that was going on, that's when Hugh said, how many guys did Hugh end up saying that he stood on his desk for? And then had to
it was Deshaun was another one.
Did he? Yeah, you're right. Deshaun,
yeah.
Carson Wentz.
Deshaun was like, that's news to me. You remember that where they asked him in the Texans locker? I want to say they were playing in London when that happened. Good times.
Oh, Hugh. God, Lord, you don't have to convince me, guys. You don't have to convince me. Yeah, Carson Wentz, I was standing on my, ask the guys, I was standing on my desk. Just, come on, let's get this guy. Let's get this guy.
We'll have to ask Greg Williams when we film that show later today.
No,
we really wanted.
Poor Blake, because I don't want to bother G-Dub. I feel like nervous, like I don't want to upset. G-Dub's been nothing but cool, but I sent a message to Blake saying, when you get a second, please pass along another thank you to G-Dub for convincing whoever the front office morons were that they didn't want to draft Myles Garrett 1. Thank you for. And he said, will do. So, yeah, I mean.
Got to ask G-Dub about that workout, by the way. The Myles Garrett legendary workout where Greg pushed him to no end, and yet he kept going.
He tried. That was his goal. My goal was to get him to basically say uncle. Which, again, when I tell you that story about at the gym, where he's at the end of the workout. I can't wait. I got to get that. You know what? I'm gonna have our boy Jay Mass.
Shout out Jay Mass.
Probably working on some conspiracy theory for this weekend's big Halloween workout.
Or watching soccer.
He's got cooked. Yeah, he's probably watching soccer. You're right.
Columbus Crew doing well.
Are they? What's their record?
I don't know. I learned about it on the Reflux show.
They're really doing well. What's the record? I don't know.
Acting like I know something.
Chico, fair or foul? The Browns should go after this wide receiver. What's his contract like? I don't know. No idea.
Fair or foul, that's better than asking if Wendy's is the best fast food.
Sometimes you really toe that line. But yeah, it wasn't just Jack asking it. It was how he asked.
The delivery.
Yeah, it was so
cash.
Almost like he was asking me if like Michael Myers was like the best. You know what I mean? Like it was like in that.
Fair.
Like,
Michael Myers is definitely the best.
Fair or foul? Wendy's is the best fast food ever. Like,
foul, by the way. I mean, it's not bad, but foul. Come on, Jack.
There's just a weird question. But
it's out there.
But well.
And so am I.
You calling out his 20. That's hello, Pot. Yeah, this is Mr. Kettle. Oh, you're black. All right, we'll take a time.
I feel like Hugh Jackson right now, throwing Jack under the bus. Sorry, Jack.
When we come back, Jack's here, baby. When we come back, second hour of the show, continue to talk about the Brown situation again. Do they have to? Not do they want? I know they want to, but are they? Are you on the phone right now to Washington saying, what is it going to take to get Jacoby Brissett back? There aren't many options out there. I'm not going to pretend that there are, but I right now, you can't. hour by hour, I don't know what to say or think about Deshaun Watson. PJ Walker, nice. Backup, okay. You can't move forward with him. You can't. So, what do you do if you're Andrew Berry in this situation? Are you really putting it out there, putting those feelers out there, and trying to improve the quarterback situation somehow, some way? There's no way you're waiting on Deshaun Watson. You can't do that. And like I said, even if you say, oh, you know what, and I've heard this, put him on IR, 4 games, and let him get right physically. Great. How is he mentally? Because I'm just as concerned about his physical or his mental well-being as he is physically. I'm just as concerned about what's going on between the ears, confidence-wise, as I am what that rotator cuff's feeling. Is what it is. All right, when we come back, continue to talk Browns, but there's some parallels to what happened on Saturday at the Horseshoe with the Ohio State Buckeyes, and I just want to say, I'm one of those, like, I try to be a realist. Bohm has kind of been on the other end of this when he's, super homer call. But there's one thing I will say. I may criticize or I may ridicule certain aspects, but if you're going to rip on my Buckeyes, you gotta have some sort of leg to stand on. And some of these national idiots with some of their, what we'll talk about it when we come
Baseless.
back. Also, we got fair or foul. It's the Chico Borman Show, 1 hour down, second hour to go, right here on the Big Play Sports Network. All righty, welcome back. Chico Borman Show on this Monday. Don't forget, coming up tomorrow at noon to 1, we do it each and every Tuesday here on the Chico Borman Show. The bald breakdown. Myself, Nick Shook, he's also bald. He's also bold. Very, very capable of breaking things down with NFL.com. He'll join me tomorrow, and we will recap what was, again, and I think we've said it now 6 consecutive weeks. Wow, that was a pretty crazy game. We'll be saying more of that tomorrow, beginning at noon. All right, I want to shift for a moment into Ohio State. And Buckeyes beat Penn State 20-12. Really, I would say 20-6. I mean, last drive, whatever. But 2-score game. Now, I'll be the first to say it wasn't pretty. It wasn't. This is back to what I was saying about the Browns and just this day and age of football. Like if you don't have an offense humming, it's like, people are really. But you know what? If I had to pick one, I'd want the dominant defense, because I think the dominant defense still, even in 2023, travels. Okay. But one of the things I noticed, and I mean, there was some frustration myself, even watching the game Saturday, like, my God, I mean, this offense is, and there's some things they got to get cleaned up. And, Kyle McCord's a first-year quarterback. And, Kyle McCord might not be Dwayne Haskins. And Kyle McCord might not be Justin Fields. And Kyle McCord might not be C.J. Stroud. It happens, okay? It happens. And maybe he will be, but he's not right now. He's not even close to that. Like, I think Buckeye fans have gotten spoiled now thinking that, like, every quarterback should be that guy. And that's not fair to Kyle. That's not fair to Ryan Day. I also think that, watching that game and seeing how dominant the defense was, and then seeing at the end of the game, like, if you continue to watch any games after that, because it was a noon kickoff. So, like, I'm watching, I can't remember which game it was in the 3:30 window. And, like, when they go back to the halftime desk and they have, blah, blah, blah. And, like, every one of them is like, you talk about an ugly game and, Ohio State's able to escape. I'm sorry. Penn State was the 7th-ranked team in the country, right? Like, Penn State's defense, say what you want, and Drew Aller, and I feel for him, local kid, didn't want to see him do well on Saturday, and, he didn't. James Franklin on the hot seat. That defense is really, really good. Okay, this isn't hyperbole. This isn't me being a Buckeye homer, but Penn State's defense, we've seen a lot of good Penn State defenses over the years. That one is as good as I've seen. I mean, they're incredible. So it was 3 versus 7, but if you listen to some of these dudes nationally, you'd think it was 3 versus 68. Well, they escaped Penn State. I mean, yeah, it was a hard-fought, tough game. It wasn't, if you wanted to see offense, this game it wasn't for you. If you wanted to see 2 great defensive teams, this was definitely for you. And so, I feel like there's 2 things that I'm hearing a lot of. Ohio State, they're just, the offense isn't good enough, and they barely got by Penn State, 3 versus 7 once again. And then the second thing I'm hearing, and this might be driving me nuts even more, is that, gosh, I'm thinking of like Stuart Mandel and some of these guys. Like, I'm reading things, I'm seeing things, and people are just like, well, they can't win a national championship. And to be honest with you, I mean, the best team in the Big Ten wasn't even playing on Saturday. And, okay, look, Michigan, I'll say it right now. Michigan has bragging rights. They've beaten them the last 2 years. Right now, if this game's played tomorrow, Ohio State is an underdog to Michigan. I don't care where it's played. Columbus, Ann Arbor, doesn't matter. And I'm okay with that, too. It's very slim, that margin. Michigan is more balanced. Michigan has a quarterback. Give them credit. J.J. McCarthy has come into his own. I was skeptical of him last year, and he probably tore me a new one in the second half of the game against the Buckeyes. But J.J. McCarthy, Blake Corum, two running backs, really. And, they always have a good defense. They have another great defense. But can we stop acting like this is one of the best college football teams ever assembled? Michigan hasn't played anybody. They've just beat Michigan State, who, by the way, if I was still doing winners and losers from the weekend, which I used to do, but we'll do it today. Loser, how about Michigan State putting Hitler on their big video board? Saying like, well, I don't know if it was his birthday or something. I have no idea. Hitler. Everything that's going on in Michigan State. You want to talk about there's losing institutional control and then just not even having any sort of institution. Those people can't get out of their own way to save their lives. I mean, you got the scandal before Mel Tucker. Now you've got the Mel Tucker thing. Now you've got Hitler on the video board. Your team's terrible. You got beaten 49-0. But did anybody think Michigan was going to struggle with Michigan State? No. Michigan State's terrible. They're an absolute mess. Michigan is good. Michigan, right now, would you give the advantage over Ohio State? Fine, but man, I can't wait to play that game. I really can't, because last year, what has changed so drastically is Jim Knowles and this defense, and Joel Klatt he was talking about this over and over in the broadcast. He also talked about it. I'm a big Klatt fan, his podcast last week, talking about it over and over again. They have gone out of their way to limit those explosive plays, which obviously was extreme. I mean, they were there. There's getting exposed, and then there's what happened to Ohio State last year in the Michigan game. And Joe Klatt, during the course of the Ohio State-Penn State game, if you watched it, constantly was referring to that safety that, he's just not going to allow, whether it's Proctor, whoever it is, they're not going to allow, any of those big explosive plays. But it's more than that. Like, okay, that's part of the equation. The other part of the equation is you got to start having guys like JT Tuimoloau doing what he's doing. If he played Penn State every game, like, he'd be the greatest football player to ever live. But I mean, they played outstanding yesterday or Saturday on defense. They did so without Denzel Burke, by the way. I think this is going to be one hell of a matchup against Michigan. And fine, you want to give Michigan the edge, that's fine. But can national guys please stop acting like this is David versus Goliath and like Ohio State's not even on the same page? That's disrespectful. I'm sorry, it's disrespectful.
It's definitely too far. And I want to touch on McCord real quick, Chico, because honestly, when I'm watching him, and maybe this is kind of a homer take, I see shades of the early days of C.J. Stroud, right? When you think about when he first came out against Minnesota and Oregon, and fans were calling for him to be benched in favor of Quinn Ewers because he wasn't consistent enough. But in my opinion, he was making some absolutely elite throws. And I think we've seen some of that from Kyle McCord. You had one to Carnell Tate where only he could catch it. You had one to Cade Stover where only he could get it. Perfectly placed. He had another dime to Marv. I think that
Maserati Ma.
I didn't want to say it. I wanted to save that for fair or foul.
All-American girl, Jenny.
I'm saving that for fair or foul. We'll get back to that.
Yeah.
But Chico, I'm not saying that he is C.J. Stroud because obviously he's not. But I'm seeing shades of that where
I'm not. I mean, I can, and that doesn't mean I think he's terrible. But I'm not seeing C.J.
I believe that he's going to continue to improve. I think
he had the drive against Notre Dame. And again, let me say this. He didn't turn the ball over Saturday. And I know that's not something that, you say that hanging out with your boys at the bar. Oh, wow, what a great. But in a game like that, and with a team like the Buckeyes have right now, that is vital. It's kind of like the Browns. That's where we say there's parallels here. Don't crash the car.
Don't wreck the Maserati.
I don't know if I like it or not. Well, that's probably fair foul, so we'll wait.
It definitely isn't fair foul.
Okay. No, I think, but see, CJ, here's the thing about CJ. He hadn't played that poorly. Buckeye Nation was just, as I said, and they're doing it again. Now they're to the point where they think Dwayne Haskins, Justin Fields, well, CJ, you should be doing that from week 1. No, he didn't look that bad, though. And the other difference is Ryan Day, and I still believe this, Ryan Day is, they all know coach speak. But I would say Ryan Day wears his emotion on his sleeves a little bit more than some. Somebody's laughing going, yeah, I saw that against Notre Dame. Yeah, he's a pretty fiery guy, and he's going to tell you what he thinks. And he made a point to say during the whole, quarterback, is it going to be McCord? Is it going to be Devin Brown? And he's like, neither one. And I think what he was getting at was with McCord and Brown, but really more McCord, is that Kyle doesn't have that consistent moxie and just like CJ Stroud. I'll never forget this. I thought it was a really cool story. It doesn't become a full story, a good story, if he doesn't play like he played and then ultimately go on to the NFL. But he was a point guard in high school, and a very good point guard in high school basketball team. And
at Rancho Cucamonga.
Thank you.
In California.
Thanks, Boom. And Ryan Day said, like, he honestly, I know this sounds stupid. He's like, but he runs the football team. He runs the offense like he's running the offense on the basketball floor. And you know what? I know exactly what he was talking about, because you could see it every week. Like he saw things. He was calm. He was cool. Now, Kyle definitely had ice water in his veins against Notre Dame. I'm not saying he doesn't have that, but I can't even. He's got a nice arm. I would expect that. He's a 4 or 5-star guy. He better have a good arm.
He makes some elite throws, too.
He missed some really bad throws.
Yeah,
bad throws. Like even Maserati Mav was like, bro. More dominant in their respective game, Myles Garrett or Marvin Harrison Jr.? I got to go Myles.
See, I'm tempted to go Myles too, except that he basically caused 2 huge explosive plays for that Indy offense, and I think those are when he goes off sides, right? And then the defense could put that on the refs for not blowing the play dead because it was so blatant. And in some games, that play probably would be blown dead.
I'm forget about that. I'm not saying who. I'm just saying.
I guess overall, yeah. It was, he asserted his dominance on special teams. He was an unstoppable force rushing off that edge. And, I'll keep thinking about that strip sack fumble in the end zone on Gardner Minshew.
Bohm's hyperbole train is just, it's out of the station, and it is absolutely running at full speed.
Full steam ahead, Chico.
Well, you know what? I've got no problem with that. They were so damn good, so damn great. That defense on Sunday, and Myles Garrett. How would you like to be the dude in that film session that he jumped over? And here's the thing. I don't even know if you're that embarrassed, because I'm sorry, I never envisioned a 6'4", 280-pound grown man just leapfrogging me, standing still. And then getting up again and blocking the kick. Insane. When it's all said and done, and they have highlight plays. Remember with Jadeveon Clowney, forever and ever and ever, they show that high school play
South Carolina against U of M.
Right. They always show that play. That play for Myles, and God knows he's got a ton of great plays, but that one's going to be on the short list. The Hall of Fame reel when he's up there and you're looking at before he actually speaks. That's going to be on there. That's insanity.
That and the NBA crossover dribble from this year's standout. I think that was the one that because he tried it again last week and it didn't necessarily time out. But when he did it that first time, I don't remember who was against. It might have been week 1 or against Tennessee maybe. when he
Yeah.
through the legs like he's dribbling a basketball.
I thought you were talking like real basketball when he said that shit.
I mean, it basically was. He looked like it. He crossed the F out of that defender.
Yeah.
Lineman.
So, Michigan is now the title favorite over Georgia. I will say this with Georgia. Clearly, and we tend to do this, it could be a three-peat. I thought that their offense was starting to come together, but them losing Brock Bowers, that is,
their biggest playmaker.
Yes, Bone. That's why I'm bringing it up. Thank you. Brock Bowers, to me, is Kyle Pitts from Florida, except he's an outstanding blocker as well. Like, what do the kids say? Like, when they throw him out of the club, Gronk used to do it. Yeah, he's got a few of those on film, too. Like, Brock Bowers is incredible, not to mention freaky athletic. Them losing him on an offense that needs playmakers is huge. But that's just why I think Ohio State, to get back to them for a second, that's why I think Ohio State absolutely positively can win a national championship this year. I'm not saying they will, but to just dismiss them because they won a close game against the 7th-ranked team in the country. I'm sorry. I saw that number in front of Penn State. I thought it signified something. I guess it does. And this is where, like, yes, Ohio State fans are obnoxious, and yes, you can't criticize anything, and there's all sorts. But you know what? There is a level of disdain for the Buckeyes. Usually it's from fan bases. I was kind of disappointed how many media members. Like, if you want to criticize certain things, fine, but after a game like that, people were honestly taking shots at them, and if you didn't know any better, you'd think they lost the game. They freaking won. I don't get that.
I was actually like astonished, Chico, to see Brett McMurphy in his personal rankings. He put Ohio State at 1.
I saw Chris Vanini had him number 1 as well.
Yeah, like I was just taken aback. I was like, whoa. And I really I really think that Ohio State is there, Chico.
I was taken back. I was like, whoa. You're a piece of work, Boom.
I don't know what I'm doing.
All right. So, yeah, I see parallels, Ohio State and the Browns, and I love it. I know 2023, it's all about the high-profile quarterbacks and slinging it across the yard. And, yes, that's important. But, man, I'm kind of – maybe it's the old man in me, but I'm kind of loving the fact that the Browns and the Buckeyes at the same time have really dominant defenses. And I don't think – I know some – and it's fair to say – you got to wait till they play Michigan. That's fair. I'm okay with that. But something feels like the Silver Bullets are back. I mean, the linebacker play, yes. Steel Chambers and Eichenberg up front. It just, they were, and they didn't have Denzel Burke. Arguably.
Shout out Jermaine Matthews, the freshman, stepping up, locking down some receivers.
He just tweeted, "Thank you, Bohm. I'm a big fan of yours as well."
I was going to save it for fair or foul, but since we're on the topic of drawing parallels between the Browns and Buckeyes to bring it full circle, fair or foul, Chico?
Bohm, you don't have the luxury of throwing away fair or foul questions. You need every last one you can.
You're totally right, but it just seems too relevant not to ask it now.
All
so,
right.
And I'm still killing time, right? This is kind of like fair or foul time.
Killing time. That's what we're doing here.
Fair or foul, Chico? The best defenses in the NFL and college football both currently reside in the state of Ohio.
Fair. Yeah. Yeah, I'll go fair with that. I'm trying to think of, Penn State can make a case, but I take Ohio State's. I think, and again, I know I mentioned it now 4 times, but Denzel Burke is one of the best corners in the country, and he didn't even play. That was beyond impressive. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we got fair or foul. Also, pretty special night in Major League Baseball. Hold me back. And yeah, I know Monday Night Football, but man, you got Game 7 between the Rangers and the Astros, and you might be surprised who I'm favoring in this one. I was kind of surprised myself. We'll talk about it following Fair or Foul. The Chico Borman Show rolling along on a Monday. It's all right here on the Big Play Sports Network. What a busy week it is here in Cleveland. We love it this way, by the way. Browns are 4-2. Buckeyes are still undefeated. You wouldn't know it from the national writers. Cavaliers going to start the season coming up on Wednesday against the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, yeah. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Wasn't that from, is that
Austin Powers?
Yeah, it was a horrible imitation.
Yeah, baby, yeah. Groovy, baby. That wasn't much better, but. Do I make you Randy?
Boom, how was your weekend? Did you have a good weekend?
It was full of lots of Ohio teams winning, which is not an awful thing.
Were you, how were you watching the Ohio State game? Were you like at home just kind of chilling out? Were you?
I was dog sitting this weekend, so yeah, I was just watching with the pup.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. I always like to kind of check in and see what the.
I was watching very intently.
Okay, I'm sure you were. All right, let's get to a little fair or foul. You were trying to waste some earlier in the hour, and I wanted to remind you that you can ill afford to waste fair or foul questions.
That's fair. All right, Chico. Well, I want to start right there with Ohio State, and we've been hinting at it. I got to get to it first. Gus Johnson, Chico. Maserati Marv. Fair or foul? Are you rolling with the nickname? I love the way he says it. It's so smooth.
It's not bad. I don't think it's as great as everybody. Well, I shouldn't say everybody because there's a lot of people that criticize it. I'm not criticizing it. Here's what I think is going to happen, though. All right? They have what? Wisconsin. So they have 4 games left, including Michigan, right? I don't know how many Gus Johnson has of those. He is going to wear out that name. He's going to wear out Maserati. Now, I like Gus. I mean, Gus, he's not my favorite. Like, you and I think it's just an age thing. Like, I'm totally Brent Musburger all day long.
Love Brent.
Gus. Gus, after a while, can start to wear on me a little bit. But I just, at first, the funny thing is when he dropped it, I thought he had used it before, and I missed it.
I think he was saying Marvelous Marv before that, like up till this week.
Right. Yeah.
Marvelous Marvin Hagler?
Yeah. That was, I'm going to go foul. Not that it's bad, but I don't think it's as awesome as people think it is.
Chico, I love it right now, but I think you're dead on in that it's probably going to be overexhausted.
He's going to be just wearing that sucker out.
Yeah. And they did ask him about that, and he said he liked it. He was like, "Where'd that come from? Gus Johnson?" Marv was like, "Oh, yeah. I think makes sense."
Oh, he gets respect. Gus,
yeah.
I think Gus is my whole thing. It's kind of like Dick Vitale. Like for those, and I was always a big Dick Vitale fan.
Yeah, baby.
Those that look at him, baby. He's a PTPer. Dickie V, like he had a passion that even if you didn't like his style, you had to respect his passion for the game, and I feel the same way about Gus. So he might not be like my favorite, but his passion for the game's awesome.
Now I want to circle back to Maserati Marv as sorry, I know you don't like it.
No,
I love it. I love it.
I have a feeling it's going to be an all Marvin Harrison.
No, it's not. This is the last thing on Mr. Harrison Jr. But with that, I want to ask you though, because Caleb Williams and Michael Penix Jr. both had rough outings yesterday.
I'm glad you brought this up.
Those were your two front runners for Heisman. Now you can make the case for Jaden Daniels at LSU. But fair or foul, right now, Chico, Marvin Harrison Jr. is the front runner for the Heisman.
Right now, no. And I actually looked this up on our boys at Tipico. He is I'll tell you what I will do. I told you I don't bet often, but when I do, it's something that I feel. I want Marvin Harrison's. I think he is like 2,500. He's below. Check this out. And I look. I realize the quarterback position is you play quarterback, you automatically you're already halfway to the Heisman. But he's below Bo Nix, for God's sake. I mean, come on, man. Like, you can't. I think J.J. McCarthy's the favorite right now. I'm not going to argue with that because they're one of the best teams in the country, and he's the quarterback, and he's playing well. What I think, though, is, and this is going to be on his buddy Kyle McCord and your buddy Kyle McCord, he's got to continue to play very well, or at the very least, he's got to get him the football. Like, target the hell out of Marv for the next 3 weeks, and then imagine, for all the marbles, all the eyeballs are on Michigan, Ohio State, and if Marv goes off and has 14, 15 catches and for 180 yards, I mean, that's going extreme. But let's say he has a dozen catches, 160 yards, couple touchdowns. He could seal the Heisman right there. Like, I can't. Caleb Williams, Michael Penix, they've all kind of just fallen away. You know what I mean? The kid from Florida State's a great team, but I mean, I don't think he's. I don't look at him. I haven't watched a ton of Florida State. I don't think Travis, I think his name. I don't think he's like great. He's good. Not a Heisman. Like, Marvin Harrison's the best player in college football. Everybody on Penn State sideline and the 104,000 that were in the stadium knew, okay, this one's going to 18, and they could do nothing about it. I'm taking that on our friends from Tipico. Yeah, I'm definitely taking that bet.
I like those odds, Chico. Now, also, I think the fact that you didn't have Emeka Egbuka and you're still able to go out there and separate so consistently is so impressive to me. But also, another name that I think we haven't mentioned yet, Drake May, who seems to have at least one wow throw every week.
The loss to Virginia. Yeah, nah.
No?
Can't. I mean, that Virginia was 1-5 going into that game.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah.
College football.
I just think with the Heisman, it's not a matter of I think Drake May is not a good player or is not going to be a good – he might even be a really great pro. But you can't lose a game like that and still win the Heisman. The Heisman's just one of those things where it's almost like the perfect storm. All the ingredients have to be there, and one of them is most of the time QB, great team, a lot of eyeballs. Well, we got a lot of QBs and other positions that are falling away. I think it's going to come down to JJ and Marv. And Maserati. Let's go down to the sideline. See what the All-American girl, Jenny Taft, has to say about Maserati.
Well, Chico, I want to move on because as much as I would love to
you just kind of completely blew that off. I put a lot of work, effort.
I love it. I love your Gus impression, Chico. The All-American girl.
That's my favorite Gus saying is when he goes down to her to start the game. He's like, Jenny Taft.
All right, you know what? Since we're on the topic of Gus and nicknames, let me bounce this one off you. What do you think? Because I feel like it got a little bit of blowback of Cade Stover's nickname, Farmer Gronk.
That I love. See,
yeah.
You know, this is what I think is, and by the way, Gus poo-pooed that.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, it was good. That's something that I expected to hear from Klatt. It was Gus that was like, oh, I don't know about that, or something along those lines.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know about that. Oh, I don't know about that.
No, he's not saying, nobody's saying he's Gronk, but it's the Farmer Gronk. It fits. Of course it's a good nickname. Yeah, you can't drop Maserati and act like it is a Maserati and then scoff at Farmer Gronk.
You know what it is, Chico? He didn't come up with it. Maybe that's what it is.
I think even Klatt likes it.
Yeah. And you know what? I also think that it's a testament to Jenny Taft being the All-American girl for working on the farm with Farmer Gronk.
Yes, she did that segment earlier in the season.
It's very on brand for the All-American girl.
We'll leave it at that.
Yes, we will. Because I want to shift gears to the NFL.
Country boys and girls getting down on the farm. Tim McGraw. All right, go ahead.
Great actor, by the way. But anyways, I want to ask you about, so the Chicago Bears, Justin Fields obviously missed the game with a hand injury. And they had their backup quarterback in, an undrafted free agent by the name of Tyson Bagent.
Yeah, Tyson Bagent. He's
arm wrestling champion. I honestly, before I heard the name spoken out loud, I thought it was pronounced in a French manner, like Tyson Beignet.
Beignet. Yeah, I never heard of the dude.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I was very unfamiliar with him.
Yeah.
But with that said, Chico, he looked good.
I was very unfamiliar with him.
Well, with all that said, he looked very good in his outing against. Granted, it's a dumpster fire of a team led by Josh McDaniels and the Las Vegas Raiders. But they looked smooth out there with Bagent at quarterback. Fair or foul, if you're the Bears and Justin Fields is back healthy, you have to consider continuing to see how it goes with Bagent at the helm.
Okay, it's a legitimate question, but here's the thing. I don't know what they've decided. I feel like the Bears, their fate's already been decided. And when I say their fate, I don't just mean Justin Fields. I mean everybody. It feels like Eberflus and they're all gone, including Justin. So it's not one of those where, hey, we want to get a better look at the. I mean, does it really matter? Because you're not going to be there next year. So why does it matter if, you give the ringing endorsement for Ben Ye? Won't really matter.
Is it fair to just roll with pronouncing his name like it's French?
I'm gonna, yeah. Now that I heard it that way,
Tyson Beignet.
I'm gonna go with Ben. I mean, first of all, slap me if you ever see me watching a Bears game anytime soon. That team is brutal to watch.
I happened to have Red Zone on in the studio while producing the Browns game, so that was how I watched.
Thought you were gonna say Red Zone at home. I'm like, boom, you don't even have like.
I'm not that slick. I'm on the clock.
That's still slick, Boom.
Oh.
You're welcome.
Exactly. All right, Chico. Let's move on to, I want to get to another AFC North opponent here, because the Pittsburgh Steelers winning out a game that I just did not expect them to win, and they continue week in, week out to emerge victoriously. Now, with that said, Chico, are you concerned with the Pittsburgh Steelers as a legitimate threat in the AFC North?
No, I thought when you said AFC opponent, I thought you were going to bring up Baltimore.
Well, yeah, that was a dominant one.
Yeah, I'm not. Here's the thing. I'm never going to be bought into Pittsburgh's offense. I don't.
The Pickett to Pickens connection seems legit, Chico.
Yeah, but teams are also going to be aware of that. And, Matt Canada is going to Matt Canada. The offensive line's going to offensive line. Like, it's just, it's not good. So, I mean, Tomlin's a great coach. I think, he'll get the most out of it. But no, as far as like a contender in the division, no. I think right now, I mean, Baltimore, Lamar Jackson yesterday was, that was vintage Lamar Jackson. Like, that was, and I had somebody text me and go, oh, see, Lamar, he's already gotten the cheat code for how to beat like the Browns and the Lions. Yeah, the only problem is nobody else is Lamar. That doesn't mean Lamar's the best quarterback in the game, but you saw, I'm sure by now, everybody's seen that play where he's in the pocket, he's getting pressured, he rolls to his right, and then fires a BB to the end zone for a touchdown. He might be the only guy in football that can make that play. I mean, as far as that elusivity, I mean, he's incredible. So, yeah, that was pretty amazing.
Elusivity, I love that word. I've never used that word before in my life. That was my first time ever speaking it. But with that said, I got to ask you about, because we talked a little earlier about Myles Garrett.
Yes, Bo.
And his freakishness.
We did, yeah.
If you will. So, he notched 82 sacks in his career, and at under 28 years old, he has surpassed Reggie White for the most sacks prior to turning 28 years old, which is just a testament to how dominant he's been consistently throughout his early tenure here in the NFL. Now, with that, Chico, I want to ask you, fair or foul? Myles Garrett is already a Hall of Famer if he were to retire right now.
Man, this is a tough one. This is I thought you were going to ask something in comparison to Reggie. That stat alone, I'll just say this: like, whenever anybody talks about best, to me, there's Reggie White and everybody else. So him being in that company is just, obviously, I know he's had an amazing career to date. Would he be in the Hall of Fame right now? I'm gonna go foul on that. I mean, 6 years. Is that what it is? 6 years?
Yeah.
I mean, barring some, but I think he's got to play a little bit longer. And hopefully, we put him on some bigger stages because God knows he deserves it. Man, that what is that stat again? 82 sacks.
82 sacks tallied in his career prior to turning 28 years old. Reggie White was the only one to hit 80 prior to 28.
I mean, like I said, when it comes to pass rushers, there's company like Reggie White, and then there is no other company. That's amazing. If I'm Myles Garrett, I'm grinning ear to ear. Somebody tells me that stat. Be compared to Reggie, wow, or in the same conversation as Reggie. Jeez, oh man. he was unbelievable.
Yeah, just historic, and I feel like, I can't help but feel grateful for Andrew Berry for assembling such a dominant defensive line this year, because it's really allowed for him to flourish. It's giving him more opportunities. It's giving him less double teams. And yeah, I really hope that this is the year that Myles Garrett will finally clinch that Defensive Player of the Year title that has been evading him for so long.
Very astute analysis. Boom. Very astute analysis. That's good stuff out of you. I really enjoyed that. Seriously.
I appreciate that. Well, anyways, moving on now to the...
we got more. Look at you. You got a whole wheelbarrow full of Farrah Fowls here today, Boom.
Yeah, I'm kind of cheating with this one because it was fan submitted, but always want to shout out our viewers who are chiming in, and our old pal Ronald contributing a question to today's Fair or Foul. And I do think it raises an interesting point because it pertains to Elijah Moore, who, sometimes it feels like they're trying to get too cute with him with the end arounds and stuff that never really seem to work.
Yep.
Well, the way that it's phrased, though, I don't know if I agree with it. Now, he asks, fair or foul, Elijah Moore is underused. He said underutilized, but my English teacher in college would have knocked points off me.
Yeah. Foul. Yeah, I don't think it's that. I don't even want to say are there better spot. I'll tell you this. When they used Marquise Goodwin, and this isn't to say Elijah Moore's not explosive, but everybody can see a difference between speed and like twitchiness, and then Marquise Goodwin is a rocket. He goes and wow, that's the guy that you want to use in that role. And I feel bad for Elijah Moore because the expectations after training camp, it was you would have thought by now, if somebody said the Browns are 4-2, oh my God, Deshaun Watson's got to be, Elijah Moore's second on the team. He's got to be having a Debo Sam. Neither one of those guys has done anything. And you've had injuries. You've had, obviously all kinds of crazy stuff happen in the first 6 weeks or 7 weeks. But Elijah Moore has just been basically invisible.
I don't put that all on Elijah either, because PJ Walker has missed Elijah on at the minimum 4 times when he's targeted him these past 2 games.
So then you would agree with I think they're he's
getting open.
As far as targets go, though, I'm sorry, I'm more concerned about Amari Cooper. And even though people say, oh well, he's the only wide receiver with a touchdown catch, and
didn't see his first target until what, late in the third quarter yesterday?
That's inexcusable. And if we're gonna say, I haven't watched the all 22, so I don't want to. Somebody out there that has all 22 X's going, you don't know. But
Nick Shook will help us break it down tomorrow.
I find it hard to believe, very hard to believe, that Elijah Moore is getting open at a higher rate than Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper is, I'm not down on Elijah Moore, but I don't think it's, we need more Elijah Moore. I think we need more Marquise Goodwin in that role of Elijah Moore, to be quite honest with you. You need somebody that's Rocket Ismail-like, and that's what he is. He's better. He's faster.
I'm inclined to agree with you, Chico. I don't put it all on Moore, because he is getting open.
I'm not saying, that's what I'm saying. It's not all him.
Yeah, he's doing a great job of separating this year. It's just why can't a pass be completed to him? Why aren't
really
these quarterbacks on the same report?
Much? I don't think he's separated that
Every
much.
time he's been targeted, he's been wide-ass open, Chico.
What?
And they're just not completing the passes.
Boom.
PJ has missed him. Deshaun has missed him.
Boom, just to make a point here, says wide ass open. Not wide open, wide
ass open.
All right. Well, that's fair foul. Thank you.
That is fair foul.
Yeah, I'm cutting it. All right, we'll take a break. We come back. 2 very, very pivotal games. Well, one extremely pivotal because Game 7 and a trip to the World Series is on the line. We got a couple of great baseball games, and we've got some Monday Night Football. It's a fun, fun time to be a sports fan. More of the Chico Borman Show up next right here on the Big Play Sports Network. All right, before we get to ALCS, NLCS tonight, a couple of great games on tap, which, of course, you can also get a little action in with the Tipico Sports app. If you need bet credits for football season, we all do. The Big Play Network is presented by our good friends at Tipico Sportsbook. The Tipico Sportsbook app has your traditional bets like the money line, spread, and point totals. Also lock in player props and check out our Big Play Boost every single week. I'm writing this down. I did write it down earlier. Tipico, I didn't get the exact odds, but I'm putting money on Marvin Harrison for the Heisman Trophy, and Tipico has some really good odds on him, so you might want to check that out. Player props, Big Play Boosts every single week to back your favorite Cleveland teams and athletes with the best odds in Ohio. Get in the action, load up for football season using promo code BIGPLAY150 to get $150 in bet credits on us plus a $30 dog pound bet. You can also use the promo code CHICO150. Chico, CHICO. That would be me, 150. Bet with the Big Play crew all season long with Tipico Sportsbook. All right, real quick. A lot of football, and we'll continue to be football heavy this week. Tomorrow at noon, in the first hour of the Chico Borman Show, as we do each and every week during the season. Now, Nick Shook, the bold, bald breakdown. Nick, of course, doing great work with NFL.com and NFL Network. So we'll talk to him at noon. But we got two huge baseball games tonight. And so I mentioned this earlier. Rangers-Astros, they're the late game, thank God. Diamondback and Phillies, Game 6 is at 5 from Philadelphia. And then Game 7, nothing else needs to be said, Rangers-Astros. What I think is interesting in that second one, other than winner advances, loser goes home, Astros have been doing this, all the time. But Max Scherzer against Christian Javier. At first glance, you look at that matchup and you're like, Max Scherzer, Game 7, all of that on the line, the pressure. Yeah, he's gonna. This is where guys like him thrive, and he has, and that's why he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. But he has been bad. Like, not just bad, he has been bad. like hitting the showers after an inning and a third, bad. And ironically enough, a guy that was kind of not great during the regular season, Christian Javier, is doing the same thing he did last year in the postseason. He's been outstanding. ERA just below 2. I almost feel, I think I like the Astros in this one, and I want to see the Rangers. I want the Rangers to advance. I'm tired of the Astros, and I know that they've got a good team and they could very possibly win it all, and I get all of that. But I look at this matchup tonight, and it's hard for me to go with Max Scherzer. As great as he's been, and it's almost blasphemy to say it, I don't feel like he can get it done. So I like the Astros to get back to the World Series. We'll see what happens. All right. We are out of time for this Monday. Of course, coming up tomorrow at noon, Chico Borman Show kicking it off with our buddy Nick Shook. And the hello?
I need Gus Johnson to say it. The bold breakdown.
He just did, courtesy of you. I'll stick with the Maserati because it's not. I'm still working on it. All right. So yeah. Chico Borman Show tomorrow at noon. Nick Shook for the bold, bald breakdown at Maserati. We've got the Reflog Show tonight at 7. I believe Hanford's on tonight. Reflog Show at 9. Hanford Show at 7. Am I right? I think
something like that. 7 or 8, probably 8.
Says it's somewhere on the schedule. I don't know. Yeah. like Kruger, Industrial Smoothie. I'm not too worried about it. All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow at noon. Until then, have a great rest of your Monday, everybody. See ya.